name's Marina. I'm from Oregon, and today we're going to be putting a hitch on a Dodge Neon. You can put a bike rack in there, go camping, go to a lot of cool places. So let's get started.
You will need the tools seen here to complete this installation.
Okay, so the first step, we're going to take a look under here on the driver's side. This is our hardware hole where the bolt is going to come down through, but we're going to access it through the access hole here, and we're going to use a fish wire to get our hardware all the way through down to that hole there. And then we're going to repeat that on the passenger side. This is the hardware we've had provided with this hitch. We've got our carriage bolt, our carriage plate, and our fish wire. So we're going to assemble all this together. Just thread that through so we get a nice secure connection, and then we're going to insert it through our access hole. So while I have the wire held like this, I'm going to go ahead and put that plate in there first because it's just a little bit easier. And then get my carriage bolt up through and then pull it down. I'm going to repeat this exact same thing on the passenger side. And we're going to leave both of these fish wires on. It's going to help keep our bolts in place so they don't disappear up into that frame when we're putting the hitch on in a minute. For the next step, we're going to be using the U-Haul exclusive hitch jack to go ahead and position the hitch into place for installation. If you're doing this at home, I recommend just having a friend help you so you don't hurt yourself. And we're going to go ahead and get this in place. For this vehicle, if you want to, you can lower the exhaust to get it out of the way a little bit. But what I'm going to do is just scooch it right on past the bumper there. And now we're in. Now that we have the hitch in place, we can go ahead and remove this fish wire off of the bolt. And then you're going to take your tooth washer and the nut. Make sure that the teeth are contacting the hitch, so they're going to get a nice bite on there. And you can thread the nut right on to the bolt there. And then we'll repeat on the passenger side. So the next two fasteners we're going to put in, we have to drill holes for them. So we're going to use a pry bar and a drill to do that. We're going to use the pry bar to just pull the fascia back a little bit so we're not damaging that with the drill when we're creating our hole for the hardware. And we're going to use the hole that's already in the hitch as our guide for where to place the hole. So now that we've created our 5/16 pilot hole, we've stepped up to a 1/2 inch bit to create the final size to fit the bolt. We're going to use the pry bar again just to get that plastic bumper out of the way. There it is. All right, and then we're going to do the exact same step on the passenger side. Feed this fish wire through the hole that we just created on the passenger side here. And I'm going to wind up using these vice grips on the very end just so I don't lose it because our access hole on the side here is so far out, I just don't want it to get sucked into there. Okay. So I'm using the vice grips just to hold this end here, and I can feel my threaded bit just on the other side, so we have barely enough room to get this through. And we're gonna thread our carriage bolt into the fish wire just like we did with the first 2 bolts. And then feed it through just like before. So now we have finished pulling that bolt all the way through, and you can see the threads coming out the end, ready for us to do the same on the other side and then put the tooth washer and nut on. On the driver's side, by feeding it through. Using the vice grips to make sure we don't lose it. You can see our threaded bit just barely hanging out, ready for the bolt. Now we're ready to pull it through again. So now that our bolt is through, we're going to remove the fish wire and install the tooth washer and the nut just like we did on the previous bolt. Making sure that the teeth on the washer are contacting the hitch so it gets a good bite on there. All right. Now that we have all our hardware in place, we're going to remove the U-Haul hitch jack and then torque all our bolts down. I'm going to use the electric drill just to snug them down before we go ahead and use the torque wrench. And we'll use the pry bar on these two just to get the bumper out of the way while we snug them down. We're going to use our torque wrench. It's set to 75 foot-pounds with our 3/4 inch deep socket. When you reach the proper torque, you're going to hear that nice little click. And we're going to go ahead and do that for all 4 of them. And we're all done. And that concludes our installation of the 1¼ inch receiver on the Dodge Neon. We've got the receiver here, our 2 chain loops, and you can go ahead and put a bike rack or a small trailer on there. Go ahead and enjoy the outdoors. Be safe, have fun. So a few measurements that are important when you're selecting accessories for your hitch are the distance between the pinhole and the rearmost point of your bumper, which on this combination is 3.5 inches. And for selecting a ball and ball mount, if you were to tow a trailer, the height between the top of your receiver tube and the ground, which is 13 inches on this vehicle.
To learn more about the products seen in this video, or to schedule an installation by U-Haul Hitch Professional, visit us online today at uhaulhitches.com.